Yeah, yeah, it goes together. I didn't open everything. Now I can't open. Do you have the campaigns and components? You're gonna have to open every damn thing. Okay. Didn't open my opening statement either. Then, since I've got back to the motion. Okay. All right. Well, good morning and welcome to the December 16, 20. That's last meeting, sorry, to the January 15th, 2025 meeting of the Campaign Finance Board. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from December 15, 2024. I move their approval. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. The June 2025 primaries are now just 5 months away. In today's meeting, the board will be voting on its second round of public funds payments for the 2025 elections, enforcement actions against two independent spenders from the 2023 election cycle, and two committees from the 2021 election cycle. That's all I have. Next on our agenda is the report of our executive director.
Thank you, Chair Schaefer. Campaign Finance Board staff got the new year off to a great start with a strategic planning retreat last week. In addition to implementing all of the campaign finance programs in this year's election, we also now have a plan for studying our election-related systems and processes in real time to identify improvements that we'll make in advance of the 2029 elections. I'm excited to announce that our Candidate Services Unit has launched the first in a series of informational videos for candidates. The video, titled How to Run for Office in NYC, First Steps, covers the basics of launching a campaign for New York City office, specifically the steps to take with the Campaign Finance Board. The video is now on our YouTube channel and website. Check it out and stay tuned for future informational videos on the post-election audit process, expenditures, and public funds. Also, the Campaign Finance Board is kicking off our 2025 citywide debates program by selecting media outlets to broadcast the debates between candidates for the citywide offices of mayor, comptroller, and public advocates. Media outlets hoping to broadcast the debates this year have submitted their applications. As we review these applications, we want to hear from New Yorkers about the qualifications of these potential sponsors. Take a look at the applications posted on the NYC Votes website. They're under the Get Involved tab. And please share your thoughts with us by emailing press@nyccfb.info by February 7th. The agency will consider and give substantial weight to public comments in our selection process. That's all I have for this month. Chair Schaefer, back to you.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the announcement of campaigns and compliance. The following candidates have completed the post-election audit process without any violations and penalties assessed by the Campaign Finance Board. The board recognizes the diligence of the candidates and their campaign staff in running campaigns that maintain compliance with New York City's campaign finance law. Of these, both of these campaigns are first-time candidates with the CFB. This is both from the 2021 election cycle. Candidate Troy McGee, City Council District number 49, and Althea Stevens, City Council District. The next item on our agenda, we have some potential penalties, and there's one appearance. The candidate was Curtis Harris from the 2021 cycle. Is that person here? So we want to come up to the front table here.
So Curtis Harris is appearing remotely.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's why we don't have a table. Okay, now I got it. Okay, so our CFB staff will get seated at the table, and do we have Curtis Harris on the screen? I don't see a connection.
Yes, I am here.
We can hear you. Are we supposed to be able to see him? I'm talking to our communications person. You're going to come up in just a second, Mr. Harris. There
Yes,
you go.
sir. Yes,
Okay, we
sir.
can now see you and hear you. Can you see us?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let me tell you how we're going to proceed. The campaign staff is going to do a very brief little introduction that just sort of tees up what the issues are before us today. I'm then going to turn to you and I'll let you have the opportunity to say whatever you have to say. We may have some questions. There may be some back and forth, but you'll get plenty of time to speak and then when it's all over, we go into deliberations. We have a few other matters where there's nobody appearing today, but who are contesting it. We'll go into deliberations, then we'll come back and announce our decision. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So campaign staff.
Sure. Good morning, Chair Schaefer and members of the board and Mr. Harris. I'm Jennifer Ferentz and I'm an associate counsel, attorney for the CFP. With me
Good morning.
Good morning. And with me is Senior Auditor Ann Contenzi, a CFP Senior Auditor. Before the board is the matter of the Harris campaign for the 2021 election for City Council District 35. Mr. Harris was a participant in the program and did receive public funds. And CFP staff recommends that the board find that the campaign committed the following 5 violations: failing to disclose a merchant account, failing to provide bank and merchant account statements, filing a late disclosure statement and failing to file disclosure statements, accepting contributions from corporations, limited liability companies or partnerships, and failing to respond to the draft audit report, and the campaign contests all recommended penalties.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Harris, the floor is now yours.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to address this esteemed board. I'd like to thank Jennifer specifically for communicating with me the concerns of this board. I'd like to start off by saying that I bit off more than I could chew. This campaign was run in 2021 primarily, and it was just me. I had a campaign director who was directing me online in the country of Colombia. His assistant for marketing was in the state of Chicago. And everything about this campaign, from fundraising to endorsements to petitions, everything from nuts and bolts. This was my first time trying this, running for city council in the 35th Council District. I did by myself, and I'm an accountant, and I understand the importance of compliance, so I accept full responsibility for my deficiencies at this point right now. But at the end of as you know, I did not win the election, and I went through a major depression. I mean, major depression. I had contracted, I was ill at that time. If I sound a little off, also, as Jennifer knows, I suffered a stroke late July of 2024. So if you can't understand something that I'm saying, please let me know, and I'll do my best to articulate to the best of my abilities. But this was a very difficult time for me. So when the campaign was over and I lost the election, I shut everything down. I forgive me and I apologize for neglecting the weightier matters that I should have, and I accept full responsibility for that. But I shut my website down, I shut my email down, I shut everything down, and I just went into a major depression. I was ill at the time. I think I contacted COVID, and my girlfriend of 10 years, believe it or not, left and moved back to Louisiana. So I was going through a lot. And, this is not your problem per se, and I fully understand that. But I just hope you understand that I did not intentionally try to neglect or disrespect the campaign finance board's policies of compliance. And I hope you understand that. And um, I hope you have some sort of mercy on me, to be quite honest with you. Um, if there's an opportunity for me to rectify this situation, as an example, when I closed out my bank account, I issued a certified check for the remaining public funds that I had of close to $15,000. I sent that off immediately, but I neglected to get the ending bank statement, and that's something that I probably could do now, 4 years later. But I'm sure Amalgamated Bank has those records. But it's stuff like that that I neglected to do, and that I am very, very sorry for.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Harris. The biggest item in terms of dollars on the proposed penalties is the failure to respond to the draft audit report, sometimes referred to as the DAR. And our records indicate that when we sent it out to the email address of your campaign, it was never opened. So when was the first? Well, my first question is, did we have any other email address for you? Was there a personal email that this might have gone to?
No, sir. No.
Uh,
In all honesty, it was friends of Curtis Harris at Gmail. And as I mentioned, I shut everything down. I stopped going to that email. I closed my website. I just shut everything down when the campaign was over, and I found out that I lost. And I really was exhausted, sir, to be honest with you, totally. I was just wondering if you had my mailing address on file, because I never received, not that it's still not my responsibility. Don't think that I'm trying to pass the buck, but I'm just wondering, why I never received anything in the mail indicating that I was derelict or delinquent. And I was, to be honest with you. And once again, I am not trying to pass the buck, but I never received anything, any other communication other than when I went back into the Campaign Finance Board's website, and that was in 2024. And that's when I discovered the delinquency. And I contacted Jennifer immediately, and I started this communication, which results in where we are today. But it wasn't until 2024, sir, that I communicated with the Campaign Finance Bureau, or I still don't have that website, Friends of Curtis Harris. I shut it down. But I had gone back into the Campaign Finance Bureau's website to look into a possibility, I don't know why, but a possibility of running in 2025 for the same office. So in answer to your question, I hope that answers your question,
Yeah,
sir.
I'll ask Jennifer, were there any other efforts to contact Mr. Harris?
So our practice is that when the draft audit report response is requested, we post that to the portal as well as email the email address that is registered with us. We then send a follow-up letter that contains the warning about the penalty that can come from a failure to respond to the draft audit report.
So let me slow down. And that letter, that follow-up letter, is sent by email? I said. I see. So the answer to your question, Mr. Harris, is that we don't use the US Postal Service. So that certainly explains why you wouldn't have gotten a letter in the mail.
But sir, that still does not exonerate me to be,
No, I understand. You've asked a question and it's a legitimate question. I wanted to give you an answer. I'm going to come back to you again in a second, Mr. Harris, but is there anything further you guys want to say?
Sure. So I just, and I certainly appreciate Mr. Harris coming and all of his statements. I do want to correct the record a little bit just to say that with the posting of the enforcement notice, I did make personal efforts to reach out to Mr. Harris, and that is when he became back into contact with the CFO,
And
And how did you reach him?
via his cell phone.
His cell phone. Okay. Did you recall that, Mr. Harris, getting a call from Jennifer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jennifer and I basically started communicating by phone. I think it was Jennifer. Was it July or June? And that's when I explained to you that I was hospitalized with a stroke, and that's started the response to the campaign finance board's inquiries. And I thank you.
I'm sorry.
I thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so very much. Had you not contacted me, I still would have been in the dark.
Appreciate it. Obviously, consider all of the factors that you presented. I just want to ask one question.
Yes,
I
sir.
assume you understood as part of the public funds process that there was going to be an audit. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And I believe that I responded to every audit inquiry up to the point where I just stopped communicating with everything. I forgive me for my negligence for the final audit. But I to be honest with you, I known that had I remembered, once again, sir, there was so much on my plate.
No, I understand. And we're certainly going to consider all of that when we go back to deliberate.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I can just fill in there that, yes, Mr. Harris did respond to the initial documentation request and did file disclosure statement 15, which is the one that directly follows the general election.
All right. Well, we're certainly going to take all of this into account when we deliberate. Mr. Harris, let me just give you a final opportunity to say anything further that you may want to say.
Well, once again, I'd like to thank the esteemed members of the Campaign Finance Board for an opportunity to hear my story, my situation. I ran this campaign to the very best of my abilities because I'm concerned about my community. I started off working in Community Board 8, and that's when I discovered the major challenges that were happening in Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, Prospect Heights, so on and so forth, in Council District 35. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve the people of New York City, and I would never do anything to uh, uh, to create the perception of dishonesty or not conform to public trust. I am an accountant, as I mentioned, and I'm now retired. And I'm looking forward to serving the city in the very best way that I can. Once again, to all the esteemed board members, and Jennifer, thank you so very much for this opportunity to hear my story. So thank you so very much. And I appreciate everything you've done up to this point. I look forward to your results.
All right. Well, thank you for your presentation. The board is now going to go into deliberations and we'll be back in a little while. Thank you.
Thank you.
The name is committee for what? Red, there we go. Okay. So the board has deliberated with respect to both the candidate who appeared and three other matters. And I'll do them all together. The board proposes to find the following violations and impose the following penalties. Curtis Harris, city council candidate from the 2021 election cycle. These are the proposed violations and penalties. One, failing to disclose a merchant account, $100. Two, failing to provide bank and merchant account statements, $300. Three, filing a late disclosure statement and failing to file disclosure statements, $250. Four, accepting contributions from corporations, limited liability companies, or partnerships, $675. Five, failing to respond to the draft audit report, $1,000, for total penalties of $2,325. Next, Isaac Wright Jr., candidate in the 2021 election cycle, candidate for mayor. The following following violations and penalties. One, failing to disclose a merchant account, $100. Two, failing to provide bank and merchant account statements, $1,400. Three, failing to demonstrate compliance with reporting requirements for receipts, $10,000. Four, failing to document transactions, $4,740. Five, filing a late disclosure statement and failing to file disclosure statements, $10,000. Six, accepting over the limit contributions, $11,000. Seven, failing to respond to the draft audit report, $1,640, for total penalties of $38,880. Next are two independent spending committees. First, future NYC. This is from the 2023 election cycle. Following violations and penalties. One, late reporting, $10,000. Two, using an incomplete paid for by notice, $150, for total penalties of $10,150. And finally, a committee for sensible government from the 2023 election cycle, again, an independent spender. The violations are as follows, and penalties as well. One, late reporting and failure to respond timely, $27,200. Two, using a paid for by notice, not of conspicuous size and style, not clearly spoken and not complete. Part of that is a violation of no penalty, and part of it is penalty of $8,339, for total penalties of $37,539. I move that the board approve those findings of violations and those penalties. Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, the motion carries. We now turn to the public funds payments for today. I will introduce a motion to approve public funds payments to the following candidates in the following amounts. For mayor, Brad Lander, $2,977,758. Scott Stringer, $68,552. For controller, Mark Levine, $1,234,914. In City Council District 1, Christopher Marte, $174,562. City Council District 7, Sean Abreu, $174,562. City Council District 8, Elsie Encarnacion, $94,453. In City Council District 17, Elvis Santana, $76,952. In City Council District 35, Crystal Hudson, $129,694. In District 39, Shahana Hanif, $174,800. This motion also includes the board's decision to deny public funds payments to other participating candidates who are ineligible for payment today. Immediately following this meeting, the board will make public a list of those candidates and the reasons for their ineligibility, as well as those candidates who have declined public funds payments at this time. Candidates who have been denied payment today have a right to appeal that decision. In addition, there will be more opportunities for campaigns to establish eligibility for matching funds in the coming weeks and months. So that is the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? The motion carries. With that, we have finished our public business. I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session for discussion on some matters that don't require any vote and to discuss pending litigation and other matters. And we will adjourn directly from the executive session. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? The motion carries. We're done for today. Thank you very much.